can you share that story with everyone? She said that was when you really, just really remember resonating with this sense of gratitude when his life was saved.
When Andreas was born, and I will tell you, he's 6'3" and very healthy and very, all good. Turned out all good. But 36 hours after he was born, they came and told me, don't be alarmed, Mrs. Huber, but we won't be bringing the baby to you to nurse tonight. Well, don't be alarmed, Mrs. Huber. You know, every alarm in my whole being went off, and they said that he is not coming to you, but he's down in, they called it a nursery. There, that was a euphemism for intensive care, for NICU, neonatal intensive care. So I had a C-section, so the IV was there on wheels, thank heavens, and I could wheel down that hallway as fast as I could. And there was my baby, newborn baby, being surrounded by doctors I didn't know, I didn't recognize, and they were putting him in this little silver, looked like a little spaceship, and they were going to take pictures of him from every angle. They didn't know what was going on. I will tell you that when he was born, he was put into the normal nursery, and God bless this nurse. When they gave him a supplemental water bottle, they noticed that he was turning blue around his mouth. And that nurse reported that, and she was concerned. And as many of you probably know, a newborn baby's complexion is often mottled. So the fact that she saw that he was turning blue around his mouth was a godsend. In any case, when I got down to that nursery, I told you what I saw. I couldn't go in. They were doing a procedure. The doctor who had been at the head of their pediatric group had left the group for private practice, and he was the head of pediatrics there, and he was in that regular nursery. I could see him. He said to me, if you ever need anything, just please call on me. And I wouldn't interrupt what he was doing. There was a nurse who came out, and I just said, would you please tell Dr. Greenshear that I would love to just speak to him for a minute when he's finished making his rounds with the babies. And he came out, and I told him what was going on, and he said, don't worry. He said, I know those doctors. Andreas is in really good hands. And he came back out, and he said, they're going to do a spinal tap on him. And when you have a 6-pound newborn baby, and they're going to do a spinal tap, you know, I'm getting, you just hold your breath. And they did, and he wound up in intensive care for 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks, before I could take him home. In those days, as a parent, this hospital is so ahead of its time. I was so lucky. They allowed parents to visit 24/7 all the time. And so at that time, as a parent, you had to scrub, put on surgical scrubs and a mask, and then you could go in. And it was spectacular that in his isolette, there was a little opening, a little round window, and I could put my hand in, and he could hold my finger, and I could feel that he was a strong baby. And I could tell him how much I love him, and how he was going to be okay. And I was allowed to do that, as I said, 24/7, not just me, any one of the parents. But I noticed that there weren't always parents there. The nurses would do what I was doing for my baby. They would do it for the other babies. And I will tell you, I have written one fan letter in my whole life, and it was to that nursing staff at Winthrop Hospital, what they did for those babies. I went in once Andreas was going to be okay, and was in the transitional nursery getting ready to come home. I went in one morning, it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and there was a nurse with Andreas in her arms. He was in swaddling, and another baby was in an umbrella stroller, and she was singing, "Here Comes Peter Cottontail," to these babies. And Andreas was in swaddling, but sticking out from the bottom were his 2 little feet in crocheted cowboy boots. That was who those nurses were. Not because they saw me on TV, it's who they were. They were so good. I was eternally grateful. And yes, to answer your question, before that, I was always grateful, but I always, if you're ever on a series, you feel like you're shot from a cannon. You know that Dolly Parton song, 9 to 5?
Yeah.
You know, we
Every
used to
day.
laugh. We were like 5 to 9. And so shot from a cannon. But I had a pause, and I could see how good these people were and the kindness that was coming in the direction of my baby and my husband and me. It was another light bulb went off at how good these people were and how grateful I was for them in our lives. And yes, that's when I really became aware of how much I had to be thankful for and wanted to express that thanks.
Was the show always supportive when you went through your own miscarriage, and then you went through childbirth, and then you went through this scare? Was it hard for you to get the time off? How did that work with such a daily grind?
You know, I don't even remember. I just did what I had to do, and I guess they did what they had to do. And I'll tell you, the crew was spectacular because Erica was pregnant sometimes when I was, but sometimes when I wasn't. And when I was, but I wasn't supposed to be as Erica, they had me in bed a lot with a lot of, and the crew had put a depression in the mattress so that I would sink down in and couldn't see so much. I started out with clutch purses, and then she had a restaurant, so I had menus and then behind chairs having conversations. Anyway, but in that bed in the depression with half-eaten boxes of chocolates that the crew was also very happy to help with, and so they helped out a lot. Yeah, I mean, when Agnes Nixon was going to write another storyline, she had called me and asked me how would I be able to do it, to go through a pregnancy having lost a baby after the miscarriage, which was Agnes. She was very considerate and she was a mother of 4 children herself, so she knew.
Goodness. So there was a lot of love on that set.
A lot of love on that set. A lot of love on every floor. New York City is very vertical. There's not a lot of space in New York, and so the producer's office, and then we were there, and downstairs were the producers too, the assistant producers. Yeah, this was a very good group. We were together maybe 16 hours a day a lot of times, and a lot of laughing, and like a family. You know, we didn't choose each other, but boy, we loved each other and got along in the trenches together.
What was the